This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ann Ortelee's Weekly Weather. My name is Ann Ortelee. I'm an astrologer here at the bright turquoise desk in Boca Ciega Bay, overlooking a beautiful, beautiful sunset tonight. Today is the weekly weather for April 18th to April 24th of 2022. We're a little late because yesterday I was over in the Miami area. Drove my little car, 4 hours there, 4 hours back. It was a road trip. And so when I got home last night, I was kind of wiped because I stopped for dinner with a friend in Sarasota. So it was quite an adventurous week. So we're a day delayed, but weekly weather is here. Off we go. Welcome to the weekly weather. The eclipses are coming. The eclipses are coming. We're ready for that new eclipse energy. We're in eclipse season. That full moon that we just had on the 16th marks the beginning of it. It will run for 6 weeks. We're in eclipse season, so we can expect all sorts of exciting things to take place in our world, in our lives, as the eclipses come forward. And I will just say, for the record, the cats are pretty wild today. So we may have kitten appearances or crashes in the corner. So hi, welcome, welcome. Here we go in the forward motion. Before we start, though, I did want to say something. With a certain level of notoriety or fame or whatever you want to call it, I have been plagued with the Jupiter Neptune with copiers, fakers, theft, thieves, stealers, whatever you want to call them. A fake Instagram account, fake YouTube account where they were posting as me saying, hey, sign up for a reading and call WhatsApp. Instagram account, they blocked me this time. They're getting smarter. They spelled my name with 3 E's, and then they hit people up for readings. I don't do that. So if anybody hits you up, if you will never ever have me write to you and say, follow me. I don't do that. I don't do that. The whole concept of followers is a little weird for me. In my generation, it's kind of like gurus, like, oh, no, I don't like that. I will never write you. If anyone wrote you and said, hi, it's me, follow me, they're a faker. Delete them, report them. As you might guess, Mars in Pisces is on my moon. I'm a little hot about the whole matter. And the fact that one woman wrote, she said, I paid $70 for a printed report from you. I said, you didn't pay $70 for a printed report from me. You gave it to some guy. Not that there's anything wrong with printed reports, but I don't do them. I do readings. And you sign up, you come knock on my door, book on my site. I don't contact you and say, I have a feeling about you. Please let me tell you what I'm feeling. I don't do that shit. Never have, never will. When I was a salesperson, that I sold in a very, here's the opportunity if you're interested. Wasn't known as a heavy duty closer, but I did close a lot of deals because people trusted me and liked me and wanted to do work with me. But if someone is saying to you that they're me and they want you to buy a reading, they're not me, they're lying. Report them to Facebook, report them to PayPal. And also, if they have a PayPal address that doesn't say annortelee.com, that money's not coming to me. If it happened to you, if you got scammed, write me. I will send you a note and say, this person was impersonating me. This is a fake charge, and we can get it reversed, because I don't think they should profit. And I have to tell you, my Circe is up. And if you know Circe, she turned them into pigs or donkeys or whatever the animal was they represented. In this case, I hope their penises fall off or, some similar thing. And I hope they get threefold stolen from them, because they're stealing. And apparently it's quite the thing. My friend Teresa Reed had her identity stolen. And I guess, I heard through the grapevine, Sam Reynolds, my friend, is giving advice on Bitcoin. He's not. So there's a lot of scammers out there. Check with the real astrologer, because they will say to you, no, we don't do this. And I will say to you, that is just completely inappropriate. And whoever you are, if you're listening to this, go away, because I don't like you and I don't want you playing in my playground. You're fake. You're a cheat. You're a liar. Like, what kind of negative energy? You know what kind of karma you're doing stealing astrology? No, no, no. Back when I was young, I did a workshop with Wendy Ashley, who's this brilliant mythic astrologer. She lives in an island off the coast of Maine. There we go. There's a little kitten arriving. That is Murray. And she told stories about when people do, you know, weird shit with astrology, like stealing it, it really comes back and gets you. So I would totally advise whoever's doing it, you do not mess around with astrology. You don't mess around with the divinatory arts. Bad, bad juju. Bad karma on you. And please, please don't say you're me. You're not me. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. I don't like you. So on that note, the eclipses are coming. And if you did get scammed, please, please, please file to get the money back. I don't care if you like the report, file to get the money back and let me send you a note saying my identity was stolen by these internet creeps. So that's the end of my rant. But Mars is on my moon. That's what I get like when I'm mad. So anyway, we do have today the Sun square Pluto, which is triangulation, and of course illumination. So if you had a triangle illuminated for you just now by me or earlier today, you know that's the energy of the sky. We're really working with a lot of energy around new directions, new beginnings, new starts. We have that lovely Jupiter Neptune last week at 23 Pisces. Now it got seeded then, but Mars is going to come and get it next month on the 15th. So, you know, we set those things, we plant the seed so it starts. But when Mars comes along next month on the 15th of May and riggers it, we're really going to see it bloom. So if you didn't have anything big happen last week, great. Watch, stay tuned. A new 13-year cycle has begun officially with that. And I have a webinar on my website that you can go and buy, but I'm not going to send it to you. Not going to, you know, knock on your door and say, buy my webinar. I'm going to say, hey, it's out there. You want to buy it? Go buy it. So forward we go. Let's talk about what's going on in the sky besides the fact the eclipses are coming. Now, what's going to happen at the end of the month, we're going to have a new moon eclipse. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to have a full moon eclipse. And so what happens when eclipses happen, it means the sun is within 15 degrees of the nodes of fate. This is a north node eclipse because the sun is coming to the Taurus north node. So there's a lot of energy around new beginnings, new starts, new forward motion, new creation, because it's an integrative going forwards eclipse. And also whatever the story was that started to leave last November, around the 15th of November, when we had the eclipse at 23 of Scorpio Taurus, this is when it goes. This is when it says, okay, hasta la vista, I'm out of here. So we're gonna watch for that energy coming in, changing, moving forward. So it's an interesting week. We also have a couple other things happening, but eclipse season, and this is an important thing to remember, you know, we say the eclipses, but it really is a season of things. And the point of eclipses, it's a situation that's been going on for a while. You might just find out about it. I mean, I had it happen before and got all mad and got rid of them. And then this time they blocked me. They're smart little fakers. Had to work there on my English. Smart little fakers. And they blocked me this time, so I didn't know they were doing it. It's just sneaky Pete stuff. And no offense to my Pete's in the audience. It's not to pick on you. But when we look at the energy of the eclipses coming in, we know it's a season. So the 2 weeks before the new moon, the 2 weeks in the middle, the full moon, the 2 weeks after. That's the energy of the eclipse. Eclipse season. And then we're going to watch those lunations to see what happens. So as I said before, the eclipses are coming. The eclipses are coming. And it's quite fun. All right, so also what happens this week is the sun enters Taurus tomorrow on Tuesday at 10:25 p.m., which officially marks the second season of spring, fall for our winter, our friends in the southern hemisphere. So this is the fixed season of Earth, fixed sun in Taurus. Notice Mercury's in Taurus, Uranus is Taurus. Now sun's there. Remember, all of them answer to Venus in Pisces. She's their boss. And she is in her exaltation in Pisces, quite happy, thank you very much. So this should be a happy kind of feel to it. And it also has a sense of positiveness. Now, last week, remember when Mars went into Pisces? Remember Mars went into Pisces last week? And they sunk that battleship over in the Ukraine. You got to love the aspects. Came out of Aquarius, the airstrikes, you know, we're worried about the airstrikes. And what did they do? They sunk the battleship. Neptune, Mars into Pisces, Neptune happens, attack, and then those other battleships moved 80 miles off the coast of Ukraine. So we watch the planetary energies, we see it in the world. We see like suddenly Mars got strategic, but also Pisces a little sneaky. And they used a rocket called Neptune. Can't make this astrology stuff up. So when we're looking with that Mars in Pisces now, as he moves forward this week, he doesn't really have any aspects because he's kind of at the beginning of stuff and everything's at the back. So you're not going to necessarily feel your Mars unless you're like me with Mars on my moon, and I got hot and bothered a few minutes ago. But you want to kind of recognize Mars isn't having a lot of aspects in the sky. So it's a week where you might not feel quite so agitated as you did last week when he changed signs and with that sudden abruptness that happens when there's a sudden shift from air to water. And if you found you had an emotional eruption or emotional overload or something happened and you went, whoa, I just felt like I got flooded. That was the concept of the Mars going into Pisces. Because somebody wrote me and said that. I'm like, yeah, well, Mars into Pisces, you feel emotionally overwhelmed. But the sun entering Taurus this week. So this is the theme for the month until the sun enters Gemini. Again, all the planets below the horizon. A lot of energy where we're working on interior things. We're not necessarily taking it out into the world, but we're working hard. A lot of energy focusing on, and again, all of the planets are in a Kala Sarpa yoga. I practiced this week. Kala, K-A-L-A, Sarpa, S-A-R-P-A, which means they're all on the same side of the nodes of fate. And they're in the south node, Kala Sarpa, meaning they're moving towards the north node. So it's always important to notice when we're working with that, which of course then means south node to north, we're releasing things to go towards something, which of course it just feels like release, release, release. Like, when are we going to be done releasing? And my friend Kathy always goes, don't say that, Ann. Don't say release, release. I always have a releasing that I don't want. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Kathy, but it's a release, release, release. So we're working with that releasing energy and releasing things into a whole new space, and off we go. So that is the lovely sun entering Taurus. We also have Juno entering Pisces. Now, this one is interesting because Juno is the planet of partnership and who we work with. And she's over here. She's that little flower pot. My friend Teddy used to call her the flower pot, which she has a little pot there and a little cross of matter, a little X there underneath her. Juno is who we partner with and why we partner with them. And interestingly, Juno is going to be in Pisces until January 13th of 2023. Long time. What that means is we're all going to be partnering. Think of what sign she's in. She's in the sign of the dream. She's in the sign of what our dream is that we're partnering with. Now, you know, I've been talking to you about your dream for the last couple of years. And you're like, enough with the dream already, Ann. But right now, Juno just went into the sign of partnering with the dream. So she's ready to get married. She's ready to partner. You're going to see all sorts of interesting unions, including Elon Musk wanting to buy Twitter for 40 some odd billion dollars. But we see this sun, this Venus entering there, and she's in Pisces. She's going to go retrograde in Pisces, and she's in Pisces until January 13th, 2033. So we're also going to find we're in the mood to partner. We're in the mood to sign up with other people. We're in the mood for new things. And, you know, it's in Pisces, so we might be just in the mood to be alone. We might do our Gloria, I want to be alone. But notice the Juno is also sextiling Venus in Taurus, and both of them, Venus in Taurus answers to, Sun in Taurus answers to Venus in Pisces. So Juno, as she enters Pisces, and you can see Venus is sneaking up here. Now at the end of the month, during the eclipse, we're having an astrology conference out in Tucson, Arizona. iAstrologer for learning how to be an astrologer, still time to sign up. And one of the guys who's coordinating it, Maurice Fernandez, goes, and we're going to get up at 4:30 in the morning and we're going to go watch the planets conjunct. And I was like, 4:30 in the morning? And he's like, Ann, it only happens once every 12 years. You have to, and of course, Neptune's there. We can't see Neptune. Only happens once every 166 years. You have to get up. We'll have breakfast afterwards. I'm like, okay. So as Venus moves into the Jupiter Neptune, we're going to find our dreams are firming up. We're getting a clearer idea. And as Juno enters it, she's saying, I want a partner. I want a partner. I want a partner. I want a partner. So you're going to feel, now remember, when you partner under Neptune, sometimes you don't really see them clearly. That's okay. Your job is to partner and move forward. And if you're partnering just with yourself or your own creative ideas, okay. But she's wanting to merge, and she's got a vision of what she's merging into or why she's merging. So you really want to pay attention to it. Again, we're still working with that, all the planets on the one side of the node. So it's a very potent little energy. And we also have that nice little moon in Sagittarius aspecting the Jupiter Neptune. So and of course, Sagittarius moon answers to Jupiter, and Jupiter and moon are in a square, so they're action-oriented energy, but the moon is also slightly in conjunct that north node. So there might be some interesting energy around how do you keep your freedom, moon in Sagittarius, in a relationship, north node in Taurus. Like, you want me to commit to you? Remember, moon and Saturn are in a sextile, so they're thinking about committing. So, don't just jump in, do a prenup, do a mental, okay, if I'm going in, I'm going to do this, I'm going to work with him for 12 years, whatever that is. Give yourself permission. It's a new entry, just happens on Wednesday. But look at where 0 Pisces in your chart. Remember, all the ending planets, the winter planets, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, Jupiter, they're all in ending signs, but Jupiter and Neptune just met up, which is like the beginning of the vision, and they're at the end of Pisces, so they're going into Aries pretty quick. Jupiter goes into Aries next month. So they're ready to start a new journey. They're at the end of the 12-year cycle of Aries to Pisces. So it's an interesting mix of ready to go, but not quite yet. So, just float. Don't get stressed. Breathe, give yourself permission to listen. The nodes are trine to Pluto. The nodes are in conjunct the moon. The nodes are square to Saturn. And later this week, Mercury is going to zip into that north node, which means he's going to show up with some paperwork for you. So I do have a lot of people that are waiting for their papers, waiting for their paperwork. I'm like, oh, Mercury on the north node, that's when you get your papers. That's when you sign your papers. That's when it happens. Selling a house. A friend of mine's closing on her house at the end of the month, selling her apartment. Another one's buying an apartment. So this Mercury North node is kind of a commitment energy. And of course, Mercury hits the nodes every year, so it's not that big of a commitment. But this year, because there are all these things changing, we have an opportunity to work with it in a slightly different way. Next up, Mercury on the south node, like I said, give you a little advance notice. So Mercury's going to meet the south node next weekend on Saturday. And of course, when Mercury meets up, when any planet meets up with a node, we have a moment of meeting something. Now, sometimes, because it's Mercury, it's an idea. By this time, he's in a physical sign. He's in Taurus. So it might be a thing. Might be a car, might be a new commitment, might be a paper, might be land. We'll see what it is and how it shows up, but it is very potent. It's got a lot of energy in it, and giving that Mercury North node as he's kind of going forward. Remember, when we create, we always first have the idea, and that's Mercury. So then we go to Venus, emotionally, this is what I want. And then we get a little inspired. We have a vision of it. And then we go create it. So we're going to work with this energy as that Mercury hits that north node and invites us to move forward. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the planet's movements. So as I mentioned, the sun today, the 18th, had a square with Pluto, which is off opening up triangles, pointing out triangles to you, helping you see them in a way you hadn't seen them before, and giving you an opportunity to work with ideas. It is an opening square, which means that when the sun squares Pluto, we have this idea of action that I have to take. It's a crisis of action. I have to do something. And the moon, of course, enters Taurus on the 19th. It goes from 28 Aries to 428 Taurus. So the last few degrees of the sign of Aries. So anything between 28 and 4 in your chart, you get to 28 and then go 1, 2, 3, 4. Those planets are all going to be activated by the sun in some way. And remember, when a planet comes to one of the degrees that matches your degree in your chart has an illumination in the case of the sun, or a block in the case of Saturn, or an action, like you saw with me getting a little hot and bothered with Mars on my moon. Watch the planet to see what's coming, and then watch your chart to see what the response is. So this is how we do astrology. Mercury, of course, is running from 13 Taurus to 24 Taurus, which means he's going pretty fast. He's going 2 degrees a day, and he meets up with a few people. He meets up with Uranus on the 18th and kind of illuminates and has you see things. So that was last night when I was looking at this person on YouTube having made up a whole Ann Ortelee channel besides me with my picture on it. That was my wake-up call last night. And Mercury gets to the nodes of fate on the 19th by declination, so he's in an encouraging mode. A lot of opportunity to clean out papers on the 20th when he squares Vesta. And then, of course, he meets that north node, as I mentioned before, on the 23rd, and he gets back past his fear of commitment when he squares Saturn there on the 24th. So Mercury squares Saturn and says, okay, I had a fear of commitment, and then he goes out of that square of Saturn into a sextile to Neptune. But now that I know how I'm going to do it, I'll commit. I'll sign up for the dream. So Mercury this week is very commitment oriented, and don't be worried about committing when Mercury's in Taurus or blah, 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 blah. Just know that you're going to really feel the energy of needing to take some kind of mental, decisive action. I have to deal with this. I have to think about this. I have listen for thinking words, idea words, because that's what Mercury, he really wants to bring the energy down to earth. He'd been flying around and he's like, I think we need to get focused. I think we need to get this organized. Honor him and listen to him, because he wants to work with Saturn. He wants to not feel so blocked. He wants to get things moving, and he also wants to work on his dream. Next week, he will have a sextile to Neptune, but this week he does or to Jupiter. This week he just has it to Neptune. Venus this week is going from 13 Pisces, to 21 Pisces, and she's pretty active. On Monday, next Monday, she has a trine to the nodes of fate, so she's going to be in Pisces trining those nodes. But this week she has a sextile to Uranus today on the 18th, unexpected new ideas. She has a square to Ceres on the 25th, which is a little bit of a contentious energy. When Ceres and Venus are not getting along, it's kind of like a mother-daughter fight. And like you love your mother, but sometimes she just gets on your last nerve. Or in my case, the kittens. There's 5 of them. And they're very wild today. So I'm kind of like, guys, calm down. They're having a grand old time. And I'm kind of being like a crabby grandma, I guess, because of the square. So watch for your feminine interactions between ages. They might not be as easy this week, just because of that square. Jupiter is not going very far. He's only getting up to 26 Pisces, and he does have a realignment of his strategic vision with Athena. So Athena there is at 27, and Jupiter, she's at 20. They realign their vision at 25. So Jupiter's in the 12th house from Athena in Aries. So he's going to say to her, strategically, what might make a better approach or a better way of doing things. So it's a really good week to think about and listen for strategic guidance from other people, because you're going to get it. And it's going to suggest maybe you take a different path. Not that there's anything wrong with the path you're doing, but it might make it work better if you did this, or there might be something that would do different if this. I also, when I see this, encourage you to take time to talk to your guides, because Jupiter's in Pisces, which is, of course, the cosmic 12th house. So he's connecting with your soul. He's connecting with those soul parts of your being. And your Pisces house is your soul's connection to the universe, right? It's kind of like your cosmic umbilical cord, for lack of a better word. And so with Jupiter talking and whispering in Athena's ear, you know, she's your strategic visionary warrior goddess energy. Everybody has her, men, women. So it's where you kind of go, that could be a good strategy. And you get that energy. So kind of watch for that when Jupiter has that whisper in her ear on the 20th of April. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, Juno heading into Pisces until January 13th. Think about that. That's like a whole lot of opportunities for us to partner in ways that are helpful. And I have had a few people. I got an email posting on one of the WhatsApp groups I'm in. One of my favorite people in the world, Angela, just got accepted into an astrology program that she's thrilled about. So watch for acceptances, watch for new things coming in, and, you know, look for where you're being invited to partner with the universe. Now, if it's a partnership you like, take it. If it's a partnership you're not so sure about, you can hedge a little. It's okay. You don't have to commit yet. Uranus is coming to a world point soon. He's on the world point axis now. He's past his shadow now. So once he got past 13, he's into fresh territory. So he's tracing new parts of the zodiac that he has not been in for 84 years. He's never been in this part of your chart for the 84 years. So, hey, there's a new paths, new things being ridden. And, you know, if you think about when I went to college, there were paths, you know, the students would walk. You know, you got to get to a building. You wouldn't necessarily do the long sidewalk. You'd do the path. And we had a new president come in, and he paved those walks, which I thought was really pretty smart of him, you know, because you'd walk, you know, at Bonaventure, it's mud, it's snow, it's whatever, but he actually paved them because people were doing them anyway. And so this is an opportunity with Uranus and Taurus. He's paving new sections in your life. He's putting down new railroad tracks, new ways for you to travel. So watching him and what he's asking of you in this next chapter is helpful, but he also is on a world point, so he's encouraging an expansion. So when we look at the energy for the moons this week, we are in a Scorpio. We had Easter, Ramadan, and Passover this weekend. All three big holidays landing on the same. Today, the moon, the 18th, is in, yesterday, the Easter, the moon was in Scorpio, and it was in Scorpio tonight until 8:55, and then it went void. It'll be void until 10:16 p.m., and then it goes into Sag. The void moon of, the Scorpio moon was very supportive. It was a moon sextile Pluto. And then when it goes into Sag on Monday night at 10:16 p.m., it's going to be in Sagittarius Monday night, all day Tuesday, goes void at 4:56 p.m. Wednesday afternoon, East Coast time. 90 seconds. Goes void with a square to Jupiter. And it has an overarching, overdoing, overexpansion energy. Then it's void the evening of the Wednesday, the 20th, and it's void for 5 hours, going into Capricorn 11:52 p.m. It'll be in Capricorn the 21st, the 22nd, going void at 11:53 p.m. with conjunction to Pluto on Earth Day. 60 seconds. It goes void at 11:53 p.m. on the 22nd. It enters Aquarius Saturday morning, 2:17 a.m. So it's in Aquarius on Saturday when Passover ends. And it is in Aquarius on Orthodox Easter next Sunday, the 24th, going void at 8:33 with a square to Mercury. So the moon's aspects this week are overdoing. Of course, we are in eclipse season. They're not, the Capricorn moon's a little tougher. The Donald Blandford Day, the day that's a little emotionally tough, would have been today, Monday. Hopefully you got through it okay. And we also have a lot of activity on the 20th. A lot of squares, a lot of choices to be made. As I mentioned, the sun goes into Taurus this week on the 19th.
10 seconds.
And that's basically it. We also, on Sunday next week on the 24th, Mercury has a lot of crabby aspects. So we may find ourselves a little crabby cranky. On a last note, the Pluto return of the United States of America is on my website, available for purchase. You get to buy it. I'm not going to knock on your door, unlike those internet fakers. And also I did a conjunction, a Jupiter Neptune conjunction of April 12th, also on my website, available for you to buy. And we're doing Cupful of Stars, where I do a daily podcast and I send it to your phone or your email or whatever, wherever you sign up for it to go, and talk about the 6 to 10 minute blurb about the day. So those are the different offerings available. Again, you sign up for them. I don't knock on your door and ask you to buy them. And that's it. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. And we'll see you next week on Ann Ortelee's Weekly Weather. Take care. Goodbye.